You know, some speeches don't just capture a moment, they define it. And Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream is absolutely one of those. But what is it that makes it so powerful, so timeless? It's not just the passion in his voice, it's the brilliant, rock-solid architecture underneath. So today, let's break down that masterpiece and see what really made it unforgettable. So, let's set the scene. It's the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. 250,000 people are gathered right there in front of the Lincoln Memorial. You can just imagine. The air is thick with hope, with this powerful anticipation for change. And it's right here that Reverend Ting delivers a speech that's going to echo for generations to come. Right from the jump, King frames the problem with just devastating clarity. He's standing literally in the shadow of Abraham Lincoln, the man who signed the Emancipation Proclamation, and he declares that a whole century later, the promise of that document is still broken. So, how do you make 100 years of injustice feel immediate? How do you make it relatable? Well, he uses this incredibly powerful metaphor that everyone can understand. He says he's not just there to protest, he's come to the nation's capital to cash a check. And in a time when economic inequality was such a huge part of racial injustice, framing it in financial terms, that was an absolutely brilliant choice. And this is where it gets really clever. King reframes America's founding documents. Suddenly, they aren't just old pieces of paper. No, he presents them as a binding contract, a promissory note that guaranteed certain rights to every single American. So, what is a promissory note? It's a formal, written promise to pay what you owe. By using this kind of language, King takes the abstract idea of civil rights and turns it into something tangible, something concrete, something that is owed, and something that is now long past due. And this right here just lays it all out. On one side, you have the promise, written right there on the note. And on the other, the grim reality. The check has bounced. I mean, that image of a check returned, stamped insufficient funds, anyone can understand that gut punch. It's a powerful accusation that this promise wasn't just forgotten, it was deliberately broken. But then, right here, he makes this incredible pivot. He goes from accusation to demand. Instead of just accepting the default, he says with total conviction that the resources, the justice, the freedom, the opportunity, they're all there. The problem, he says, isn't that the vaults are empty. It's that the bank refuses to pay up. Okay, so he's laid out the problem, this massive debt that is owed. Next, he outlines the method for collecting it, and it all starts with an absolute rejection of patience, of being told to wait just a little bit longer. He builds this feeling of urgency using one of the oldest rhetorical tricks in the book, but man, is it effective. Anaphora. That's the repetition of a word or phrase at the beginning of clauses. Just listen to that rhythm he creates, a cadence that demands you pay attention. Now is the time. Yeah, that repetition, it's like a drum beat, isn't it? It just drives the point home again and again. He's not just talking anymore. He's building this incredible momentum, creating a chant for immediate action that just pulls the entire crowd in with him. And then he lands the punch with this incredible imagery. He contrasts the dark, desolate valley of the present with the bright, sunlit path of the future. It's this powerful, undeniable call to get up and move out of the darkness and into the sun. But look, urgency without discipline, that's just chaos. And King knew this. So after establishing when they have to act, which is now, he lays out exactly how they must act. And the method is every bit as important as the goal. He lays down this really profound moral challenge, not to his opponents, but to his own movement. The goal is freedom, sure, but he says it can't be won by using the same tactics of hate and violence that their oppressors use. It's a call to, take the high road, even when it's the hardest path. And this is so important to get. The movement wasn't just a spontaneous protest. It was a highly disciplined campaign with clear rules of engagement. This idea of maintaining dignity, of meeting physical force with soul force, wasn't just a moral position, it was a deeply strategic one. All right, so we've got the problem, we've got the method, and now King pivots to the part of the speech that everyone remembers. He elevates the whole struggle from just a protest to the ultimate fulfillment of the American dream itself. The absolute genius here is how he frames this dream. It's not some radical new idea he's introducing. Instead, he's basically saying, hey, I'm not asking for anything new. I'm just asking America to finally be, well, America. He roots his vision directly in the nation's founding creed, making it impossible to dismiss as un-American. And then, boom, he makes it personal. He takes this grand national vision and brings it right down to the most intimate level possible, a father's hope for his children. That one sentence, it just boils down the entire civil rights movement into something every single person can understand and feel. So he goes from the personal, his own kids, and zooms right back out to the communal. He's not just talking about tolerance or just getting along. He's talking about becoming family, about a future where all the old divisions are replaced by the bonds of brotherhood and sisterhood.
Okay, so for the grand finale, King doesn't just state his dream. No, he turns it into a full-blown national anthem. He builds this incredible symphony of freedom, and he calls on the entire country to sing along.
Pay attention to what he's doing here geographically. He starts in the North, in states that were part of the Union. Why? Because this isn't just a Southern problem anymore. He's making it an American issue, weaving this tapestry of freedom that covers the entire map. And then he takes it south, right into the heartland of the Confederacy. He calls for freedom to ring from Stone Mountain, a place known back then as a monument to Confederate leaders and a notorious meeting spot for the KKK. Think about that. He's taking a symbol of hate and reclaiming it right there on the national stage for the cause of freedom. Absolutely incredible. And he keeps going. Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Each place name is like another beat of the drum. He's not just listing places, he's systematically rewriting the map, claiming these historic landscapes not for a history of division, but for a future of freedom. And finally, he goes to Mississippi, a state that was synonymous with the worst racial violence. By demanding that freedom ring from its hills and even its tiny molehills, he's making it crystal clear. No place, no matter how small or how deeply rooted in hate, is exempt from the promise of America. For the final words, he doesn't use his own. He reaches back and borrows the powerful lines of an old Negro spiritual. It's just everything at once. It's a prayer, it's a prophecy, and it's a declaration of victory. It leaves the entire world with this profound feeling of hope and a vision of a future that is finally, truly free. Just a true masterclass in how to move the world with words.